Dear Brian, so I wanted to give a little update as to where I've been, why I haven't been able to create content for you so you can view from on high these past few weeks. I did decide to cut the stream during the week because they're just, the activity wasn't there, and I thought, I still could if I just streamed, no mic, no camera, but that's not why the people that are still around, that's not that's not the content that they came around for in the first place. So no, I shouldn't do that. So but the Sunday stream doing Star Wars with Exis, Waterboy, and Robbie, that I did not intend to end, and it really hasn't. But let's go back and explore why it currently is. So September 5th, I'm pretty sure, my kitchen sink leaked. Cheap rubber hose was used, and this is actually the third time that this house, where one of them has cracked. So the previous two times we noticed it when the water was still in that cabinet, not that cabinet, but one, whichever cabinet it pertained to, because both of the kitchen sinks have had this happen once before. We took care of it. I replaced the hose. This time we did not catch it early, so I have now, so that it will not happen again, replaced all of the hoses and all of the little spigots, that the little valves. So we will not need to worry about those leaking again, and not with little cheap rubber ones either. So the problem was the water collected in the bottom, but it was shooting onto the side. So as the bottom started to warp, it allowed what was on the side, sloshing on the side, to actually fall beneath the cabinet. And instead of it coming right out front, it went down to the floor, to the right, past another cabinet, which had its own pieces of wood that it was standing on for support, through the little pony wall that's right there, over into the carpet in the living room, on two sides of that pony wall actually. So we didn't notice the damage until it had damaged two cabinets, went under the pony wall, and then went underneath both the linoleum in the kitchen and the carpet. So bad. So I had to call insurance and make the claim, and that night they sent some people out, and they tore apart the bottom part of the wall. They tore off the toe kick for the cabinet and put in a dehumidifier and two freaking jets of fans. Peeled back the carpet, and that shit ran for I think 3.5 days. I think it was Tuesday night to Friday morning. So at that point, I had already submitted the claim, so it was already, we're $1,000 in for the deductible, and some complications came up when it came to my ex's name still being on the check that they were going to issue, because for some reason she was still on the policy. And there was another issue where even if I got around that hurdle, my the company that I'm paying the loan for on the house was going to be on the company, and they are a fucking terrible company who I couldn't expect to be quick about co-signing. I could go into details, I'm not going to. I got around both of those obstacles, and so I got the money to pay the company with. But still, that's $1,000 deductible that I really didn't want to have to just, bam. And it's not even like it's going into, it's fixing a problem. That's aside from the money that I had to spend on repairing everything, plumbing wise. So now that everything is getting back to normal, that's all it is. It's getting back to normal. It's not like I upgraded anything. So that has been a very long process. It is still not finished because the company that we are dealing with, they do not schedule things well. I'm not going to get into that. I will definitely give them some feedback later. But it's led into this other stuff. So when I started the Star Wars streams, things were fine. Robbie and Waterboy made windows for me on Sundays, and I'm very appreciative of that. They were both excited. The four of us all have long histories with the game, and we all started at different times and stopped at different times too. We also had different levels of activity and different focuses on what we were doing when we were playing, so it's great. So we did 2 weeks. I did a weekday stream where I just got to a certain point, and I wanted all of us to do that just because it's not really group play if we do one of each class on a side. So because the way that the game works, the starting planets, 2 of the classes are on one planet, 2 of the classes are on the other. And that's the same for both sides. So we wouldn't be grouping up and playing together anyway. Additionally, I want the class quests for us to do them individually, just at the same time on our own, instead of going through all of them, because it's going to be better for the viewers to watch just the story that I'm playing all the way through. And it'll also add to the longevity. If we all like this and this keeps going, that means there will be 8 separate playthroughs that'll have new content, and it'll really show the breadth of the storytelling in that game so that people can enjoy it from the viewing perspective without needing to go through it themselves. I'm basically describing what a Let's Play is, but with that game it's a little unique because of how there is a lot of content that you can do when you are any class on each side. There's also just that story content, and the thing is, the story content is generally really good. Even the worst of them is still an enjoyable experience. So we did the first weekend and it was great. Then we did the second weekend, it was great. And that was Drumming Costs, and you know, the third weekend was going to be, how are we finally going to end this planet? Because we're doing all of the quests that we can. All planets have quests that have been turned off permanently. I very much disagree with that decision, especially since that's one of the big things about any MMO that isn't Warcraft, is Warcraft has so much content built up that the only way that you can compete with it is by continuing to add size. And here this game is that they've taken stuff away. Now I know that you can turn on exploratory missions on the map, and we have, but not everything is there. Most of the bonus missions, or the bonus quests for the different planets, I'm pretty sure those are all turned off. A lot of the dailies at the on places like Ilum and Belsavis, I know that those are gone. They're not there. And that's just an example. There are plenty of other things that have been turned off, and I really wish that they did not do that. But moving on, the third week, we were supposed to do it, and I didn't want to make the call, but that week, that Sunday, Exus and I were doing a charity event in Phoenix, not even Phoenix, Peoria, so it was a very long drive, and we didn't get out of there till late. And so at the earliest, I would have got home at 5:30, or we would have, and then done the thing, which would have required setup, so we may not have even started before 6. Needed to finish by 7 because Waterboy does have a limit on when he can play till, because he's a dad. He's got 3 kids at home. They're in school. He needs to help get all that shit in order. And then on top of that, right after that, I was going to need to turn right around and drive right back up that night to my home in Chandler, or to my room in Chandler, in order to get ready for the next work week. And so I said, screw it, I'm just going to make the call. I'm going to stop at the room in Chandler instead of going back home. I'm going to work on Project Raider, and we'll pick it up next week. Next week, so that was the weekend where we would have played on the 4th. The next week, I didn't even know about it until during the week, but a couple of the other Camaro guys, a few of them, had an impromptu trip to Phoenix planned, and there was a reason. There were a couple car shows, and then there was also a photo shoot that we were going to do at a location, or that they were going to do at a location. One of the guys just recently got a sponsorship with a wheel company, and one of the requirements was that they needed a professional level shoot at a good location, and they had picked the dry lake bed just southeast of Vegas. So I said, fuck it, this is a good opportunity. We'll go, we'll drive home Sunday morning. And that's a thing for, it's a story for a different time. The short of it is, we absolutely did not get back in any amount of time to make that happen. So we stayed out so late Saturday night into Sunday morning that we didn't even end up leaving Vegas until after 11, and that didn't allow us to get home until it was about 6:30 when we drove past our exit, because in addition to that, there were other things I was supposed to do that day. Now, had we left at a reasonable time, we would have been able to do it, but we didn't. I had to drive back past the exit because that was the last day that we were able to go to Home Depot to secure the purchase price, because we had an estimate on some carpet, and that was the last day that we could use that estimate. Otherwise, we're going to have to pay for them to come out again to do another estimate, because for some reason Home Depot has a 7-day limit or a 5-day limit on their estimates. Makes no sense. Lowe's is way longer. So I had to drive past the house a few exits, go to Home Depot, finalize the purchase, and come back. And so it was impossible for us to do it that week. So that was 2 weeks in a row that I had to cancel. And that Vegas trip was kind of a bit of a spontaneous choice. It was very well worth it, I think, but I just hated having to cut into this. So fast forward a week. So the company that was handling the repairs came out and did half of what they were supposed to do. And the problem is, me being there for them to get the work done during the work week is a problem, because I don't fucking work in town and I don't work remote. And they apparently don't understand that. So they came out for those 2 days, got some of it done, and then left and saying, oh, we'll come back later. Well, you can't just fucking come back later, can you? I don't sit at home during the work week. That's not how work works, and neither does she. So you guys are causing a problem by not getting everything done in the 2 days that you were scheduled to. So again, feedback is absolutely happening. And but the work that they did get done did allow me to start the floor. So one of the things that we had done to try to recoup some of the cost of the deductible is to do some of the work ourselves, and part of it is me doing the floor. So I'm putting the floor in, but I don't understand how there are people who do this for 8 hours a day, but that shit destroys, if not your knees, then your back, especially when I have this back injury that specifically pertains to the motions that I was doing when I was laying this tile. It's just peel and stick vinyl tile. It's not expensive stuff. It's not fancy stuff. It's a lot better than what we had though, and is a lot more water resilient than what we had. So I didn't get finished, and I was destroying my back, my whole body, my fingers even, because putting that stuff in packed tightly required using a lot of my finger strength, which was not something I planned on, but it's not something you learn until you do it. And I'm still not finished. I'm still not finished. There are still a good number of tiles that need to go in. All of the tiles, all of the full-size tiles are in, but about half the ones that I need to cut are still out, where I need to cut just 1 or 2 sides, and then all of them around door jambs there are 6 door jambs that I have to cut around, and those are not good because the door jambs they go all the way to the floor, so I can't slide the tile underneath, and they all have curves and shit to them. They're not just straight cuts, so I still need to look up a good couple videos on how to do that right. When I finally get all that in, I then have to get all of the floorboard or the baseboards put back in and painted. There's other painting to do on the wall before I put the baseboards in, so there's still a lot of work that I need to do. But point is, with all that stuff still left, and I was called up to work on Sunday night. Now that, they're available earlier in the day, but I needed to work as late as possible on Saturday on the floor so that I can get my sleep in order, and then work, and then hopefully sleep as long as possible during the day. I knew my body wasn't going to let me, and it didn't, but when I got up, I still needed to work on the floor. That was a priority. So another weekend gone where I wasn't able to stream. So we'd stream for 2 and then didn't stream for 3, and it's all my fault. So this coming weekend, even with the problems with the door jambs, I'm not going to have an issue getting the rest of the floor in. I'm still trying to solve how am I going to get the refrigerator back in place. The oven I'm not too worried about, but the refrigerator, getting that back into place without tearing up my new floor that I just put in. Still haven't solved that one, but you know what? If I have to waste 2 boxes of wax paper laying that shit out all over the place and getting that moved back over there, then I will. I don't care. So there's no reason why I should, being that I can start that on Friday, there's no reason why I shouldn't be done by Sunday. So nothing looks to be in the way, unless someone fucking calls out of work again. We'll see. Even then, I still may be able to manage it. So just wanted to give you an explanation. So now we move on to the carpet. So we had already been talking about getting carpet for pretty much the whole house, all of the house that has carpet. We were talking about that before we discovered this damage. We even had samples, and then this damage happened. And the problem with that is the deductible. And so that ended up being an issue where it kept us Okay, now we're $1,000 further away from where we would like to be with spending money for house projects. But we learned some stuff. We learned how the people doing the estimate, we learned how the carpet layers do their job and get their stuff. And it has to do with the carpet either comes in 12 or 15 inch or feet widths, and then the lengths are either also limited to 12 or 15 feet, or they cut it off a roll and they can do it any length that is appropriate. So what we learned when they did the estimate was the reason why I was trying to fast track the carpet was because a lot of the house projects that I've been doing lately, I'm getting down to the point where a lot of the big stuff is done, and now I'm waiting for other big things to get done, like carpet, before I can do the next big step. And so I started to get to the smaller things, like sorting papers and sorting, you know, books and cards and stuff. And I thought, you know, that's great. This is work that needs to get done. Organizing the garage because of the bullshit that happened in there a while before with the shelves collapsing. Thankfully, the cars were not in the garage because they would have been damaged as well. But I tossed about 30 pounds of glass, or actually it's still sitting in a box. I need to find a way to recycle it. But the game room was the next big project, but I needed to wait for the carpet because the stuff that's going in, you don't do the carpet around it. The carpet needs to be done first. And so what we learned from how they were segmenting the carpet was that if I did the carpet in the game room and the stream room together, then that actually worked out very, very conveniently with how this particular carpet is sized. So we're doing that. That's going to get done next week, and for a very small price comparison to doing everything. And because of how they were going to segment everything, this is actually it actually would not be cheaper if we did it all at once, because these two rooms were going to share this segment, this specific cut of carpet anyway. So we can actually get it done at a proportional cost if we do it right now. So fuck it, great. It's a great amount, it's a great price, it's an awesome carpet, way better than the stuff that I had. And we will be replacing everything else too. But this will allow me to get the massive game room project done. And although I didn't need this in the stream room, it'll allow me to take the rug that's in there and place it somewhere else in the house and make somewhere else in the house look better for the moment. And the same with the game room. The game room has had a certain rug in there for a very long time, since well before I even got the divorce. And it's been great in there. It'll be sentimental. It'll hit my feels to take it out, because that thing was a really big part of the room's look for a number of years. But in reality, it hasn't really been that sort of room. That room has pretty much been storage the entire time that Exus and I have been together. So it'll be great to, you know, with the new carpet that's going in and how minimal the furniture and stuff is going to be in there. Moving that rug out of there is going to be fine. It'll be nice somewhere else. So the first thing that'll be worked on in that game room is going to be the closet. It's going to become the comic storage space. Comics, magazines, and just my Magic cards, because I need somewhere to put them. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm not really adding to them anymore, but I just need somewhere to put them. All that shit's going in there, and what I have devised is really neat looking, and it's going to house everything, so I don't have to need to keep them around up in my Chandler room anymore, because they are taking up a lot of space. But how they're gonna be designed is gonna be nice. How they're gonna be lit is gonna be nice. How they're gonna be cover is going to be nice because we're going to take the closet doors off and just have a rod going across with a couple full-length curtains that we're going to get custom printed. I haven't figured out what I'm putting on it yet. But what we have designed for the rest of the room is massive and awesome, and I can't wait to get it all in. And it actually might not take that long to get that stuff in there. And with the fact that I'm going to be assembling so much of this entire room in the room, means that it's going to be a lot cheaper when I get that stuff made at the cabinet shop, because they're not going to be assembling anything. They're just going to be cutting on the CNC, and they're going to be banding, and that's it. I just got to get the pieces home, and then I can put the room together myself. So but I still need to plan everything. The shelves in the comic closet still need some planning to do, because there was a question that I have when it comes to support, because just a regular 3/4 inch plywood is not enough to support bunches of comic boxes, even if I have support brackets in the middle. So I'm going to have to move to some thicker shelving, but that's, the way that I have, the height that I have to work with is so tight that I can get 6 shelves in there if I play it tight. Going with thicker shelves is making it tighter, and I didn't want to go tighter. I wanted to have a little bit of play, but if I cut into that play, it's still doable. So I'm getting that finalized, but the thicker shelving it's going to cost more, but I kind of need it. I don't want shit collapsing on me again. So it's still doable, and I'll just have to deal with the fact that it's going to be a little tighter. I might have to pack, I might have to pack some stuff into another box if it causes the lid of the comic box to raise a little too much. Then I just can't do it that way. So that planning is still in place, and then the planning for how the big shelves in the game room are going to be both positioned and spaced out and then lit. All of that's going to be pretty complicated, but I'll make it work. So it's going to be great, and if I spend my planning time right, it's actually something that I can get. I might be able to get it done by Thanksgiving, honestly, as long as we're able to afford all the pieces. So if my planning goes well, then I can just give them the dimensions for everything and we're set. So free time is going to be spent on the house project as usual, but I'm getting to the point where I'm going to try to limit that a little bit, because before, when I went home for the weekend, it was nothing but house projects. Body be damned, but I can't keep doing that anymore because it's not fair to the other things. So I'm back in the gym, which is a good thing. I am spending more time on Project Raider, which is absolutely necessary. And I have just, before I came out here, got caught up on my kanji reviews. They have been behind for probably months now, and that's not acceptable. So I got caught up. I'm gonna get my lessons knocked out too, so that everything can be in a good cycle. But I was at a, I don't like the speed. If you average out this whole past year, it's pretty bad, because I've only done 10 levels in this past year, and that's unacceptable, because then that would mean that I would need 5 more years to complete this. But there was a time where I think it was under 10 days and under 11 days, two levels in a row earlier this year, while working, and it wasn't at the expense of work, where I did a level in less than 10 days, and then I did another level in less than 11, I think is what it was, maybe slightly over 11. And so it's obvious that I can keep that pace up if I stay on top of things. But then the painting started in the house. A house project got in the way, and kanji slowed down. And so now I am determined to keep on top of things and to not let it get out of hand again, because I was able to before. So stay on top of gym, stay on top of kanji, stay on top of Raider. House projects, even if I'm doing house projects, taking a break every hour or two to catch up on my kanji is perfectly acceptable, because I can't, that gives my body a rest. Because no matter what I'm doing, I'm standing, I'm bending, I'm doing something with my body that it needs to rest from anyway. So I guess that's it for now. That's where things are at. Star Wars should continue again this weekend, and the game room is going to be a big project that I will be sharing details and pictures on in the Discord. And it's even, I have determined, going to be the background that I use when I do videos for Project Raider, because I'm going to be on camera, even though I won't be on camera for the entire length of everything. It's just the way that I have it planned. It'll just be an excellent background to use, and I'll be able to have 2 TVs with some footage playing that pertains to the games that I'm talking about. And that'll just be a nice environment to shoot in, and it'll just have a bunch of gaming memorabilia in the back. It'll look really nice. It'll be an impressive background, so I can't wait. So yeah, so that's where I've been, buddy. I miss you. Next month is a year. I told family last year that I was absolutely planning on bringing Exes home, and because she's never actually been to Wichita. She went to that gigantic family reunion that we had in 2011. That wasn't quite in that area. And then she's been in the home around St. Louis that my parents are still around that area, but I've never actually brought her back to Wichita. So I told family I'll bring her back next year, and then this year happened. It still might be possible. I'm sure that they'd be all right with it if we came to visit just for a little bit, but it just might be another thing that needs to wait till next year. I mean, we've already got a Japan trip planned, a personal one, for 2 to 4 weeks. We still haven't figured that out, but I'm interested. But at the same time, because of the fact that that's a first half of the year thing, even that is up in the air. So anyway, miss you, buddy. Talk to you soon.